I rock the show all by myself. You saw the freestyle dopeness. Without me the scene's lost like the Catholic Church when it's hopeless. Yeah, it's hopeless. So DJ 뭐가 고민이 돼. I'm the only way. 선택은 tableau. 내 CD 돌릴 때 내 입은 왕귀는 A4 내 종이 돼.
Gazed into the realm of death. What did you see?
I had a dream. It was the first time. First that I was really scared. Shook with fear. If one thing, one atom had given way, then I would be gone.
At the bridge that links Earth to the heavens. You can stay here alone and watch what happens to this purgatory.
sing to sorrow and the children weep.
Oh my lord, what have I gotten myself into? Seems like I woke up in yesterday again. Another day, another dream.
Hello, everyone. So, Trump has been reinstated on Twitter. And forgive me, I just got a new kitty. And she is very vocal. She's a Siamese. So if you hear her meowing, it's because she is a Siamese cat. So, yeah. So I might have to go put her in the other room if it gets a little bit too meowy in here during this stream. But so sorry I've been a little bit MIA. There's been a couple of big stories that I haven't covered because, to be frank, I'm a little frustrated about the whole situation. I've been telling people for a long time now, at least 2 years or so, that CBDCs were coming, to not trust Solana and Sam Bankman-Fried, and people still did. So, and now they're out of their money. And, just seeing it all happen, I was just like, I don't even want to talk about this, because I've been warning people for so long. And I didn't really get much into FTX, but I've talked about, especially back in like the beginning of 2021, when everyone was talking about crypto because it was going through the roof in terms of price. I was talking about Solana, at least on and off. Usually at the end of my streams, I would talk about crypto and prices and the impending CBDCs, and it's just so obvious with that situation what that was and what that is, right? They're going to use it to regulate crypto. They're going to roll out their CBDCs. They've been talking about it for a while now. And maybe I should put Snowball away here. I'm going to put her away because she is going crazy. You guys can probably hear it, I'm guessing. So I'm going to go to the screen here. Put me on mute for just a second. We're going to talk about Elon. We're going to talk about Trump in just a second as well. 1 second here. Sorry about that. So, hello everybody. Let me check the chat. I'm sure you're all getting a kick out of this. So, the cat is away in the other room, so I think we're good. Yeah, people telling me to wipe the lens and all that. So let's talk about what's going on here. And I'm going to get a little bit into Sam Bankman-Fried later, probably. I do have some things to say about that. I'm not going to get too much into it because, again, yeah, I'm frustrated with that situation because I've been warning people for so long. But let's talk about this with good old Trump. He's back on Twitter. Elon did a poll, and he won. Okay, Trump won the poll by a thin margin, and now real Donald Trump is back on Twitter. So, I mean, we can go right now to real Donald Trump, and his account is officially reinstated. Now, really sorry to all of you out there who invested into Truth Social. You're in trouble, man. You're in trouble. If you put any money in Truth Social, man, you are hurting right now. I don't know if that was, a publicly traded company or whatever. I doubt it, but Trump insists, according to him, he's only going to exclusively post, even now with his Twitter account reinstated, on Truth Social. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second. I don't know if you guys believe it, but, so a lot of people are praising Musk for this, but there is more to this story. There's a lot more to this story, right? Elon is not our guy. He's not our guy. It's that simple. Now, is Twitter better off with Elon controlling it and it being a private company in his possession? Yes, probably. Will there be more free speech on Twitter? Yes, certainly. I do think so. We're already seeing that. We're seeing accounts be reinstated already. In fact, today, obviously with Trump, but I mean, also Elon reinstated Babylon Bee and Jordan Peterson and these mainstream, very milquetoast types. My cat is right outside the door. She's meowing up a storm. These Siamese cats, man. Kitties, I love them, but she's amazing, but she's very vocal. She just meows all day, and it's great. It's just not when I'm trying to do a stream. So, but yeah. So, do we think Elon? He's not a conservative, and he's also a transhumanist, and that's why he bought Twitter. I believe there's a long-term plan here, but he also has to make it appealing to that half of the country here in America that voted for Donald Trump, because yes, half of the country in 2016 and 2020 essentially voted for Trump. It was close enough that you can say that for the most part. We're talking 70, 80 million people, whatever that number is, that voted for Trump. So he has to make it appealing because he has big plans for Twitter. This is not a secret. He wants to eventually evolve it into a WeChat style app that's all encompassing, very much like what China has with WeChat. You'll be able to make payments and organize your entire social life and financial and health and social credit score on that future app that Twitter will evolve into. That's his plan. He's very open about this. And if you combine that with what Elon wants to do in terms of Neuralink, man, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really think this is the best thing for humanity in the long term, but we can still have fun while this is playing out, because yes, Donald Trump on Twitter is probably going to be, a fun thing, but this is all a reality show. This is like, having Snooki on Jersey Shore. This is great. Why ban Snooki? I don't think we should ban Snooki. Have Snooki come back, right? And that's what Elon's doing. I'm all for it because it's entertaining. To me, this is just like watching a good TV show on Netflix or something. I don't watch Netflix. I'm just saying, I just don't. I don't necessarily believe any of it is anything we're not told the whole story. We're not told all the motives, and we're also not told the true intent of these people and what they want for us, right? These are our controllers now. We're run by billionaires who are on ego trips, and a lot of them are just transhumanists, right? And I mean, people need to wake up. People really, but let's look at this. We're going to talk about it. How's everyone doing in the chat? Hello. Lee Stewie, hello. I see you in there. Twitwit says, I like Peterson. I like Peterson too, except he's kind of fell off, and also he's kind of very boomer-conish. He really lost me, by the way, when he put out this, what was it called? The Conservative Manifesto, where it was very verbose. He stated a bunch of things everybody already knew, and there was no insight with it. He's just very lame, I think. He's very lame. He's very milquetoast. Very verbose. He's very try-hardy. Ever since he joined the Daily Wire, I'm not like a huge fan. And he worked for the UN and all that too. He's done some work for some globalists, but I don't hold that against him totally. But anyways, Lee Stewie says, we just voted for someone to have free speech. If it was actually about free speech, the vote wouldn't be needed. Yes, precisely. That's exactly right. And by the way, I put out a video about this a couple months back. I'm not even for democracy. I think democracy is stupid. The fact that this came down, by the way, to the wire, this vote. I mean, just go to the vote. Here. It was 51.8% over 48.2%, with 15 million people voting on whether or not to reinstate President Trump. This isn't free speech. It's mob rule. But again, I'm happy with the results, but what if the results went 1% more or whatever it is, 1.22% in the other direction, and half of that could have been bots anyway? I'm surprised. This is why I almost think this is all like, do you really think Elon, first of all, it's no secret, it's highly admitted that there are countless bots on Twitter. Countless. I get inboxes all the time, literally every day, from bots trying to crypto scam me every day, every single day. And so, like, when you see this, I mean, they can just send bot armies out on both sides, right? And this is why it's kind of like, this was... I have no doubt in my mind Elon had plans to reinstate Trump either way. This Twitter poll was just a masquerade. It was just a charade, right? A formality to back up his PR and as to why he allowed this to happen, right? Why he reinstated Trump. So when he has advertisers coming to him saying, oh, you just let Trump back on your platform, it's like, well, half of your clientele, or more than half, just voted, and they want Trump back on Twitter. So those are the people you're trying to advertise to, right? Yeah. So, yeah, that's the whole big secret there. I mean, obviously... just going through the chats a little bit here, and we'll get to more of this. We'll talk about how Elon basically denied reinstating Alex Jones. Ronald Reagan, Elon Musk, and Donald Trump, all lifelong Democrats. Let us stop pretending this charade is real. I don't know. Oh, yeah, well, that's actually technically true, isn't it? Yeah. No, yeah, that's actually technically true. They were all lifelong Democrats until the latter portion of their political careers. Elon Musk isn't really a politician, but I'm not really sure he was a Democrat per se. But Donald Trump and Ronald Reagan definitely were, from what I understand. Yeah, I remember Donald Trump helped campaign for Hillary Clinton, like way back in the day. It won't let me follow Trump on Twitter. Let's see if it will let me follow Trump on Twitter. Yeah, it's a little glitchy. There's another thing, too, by the way. So just keep in mind, a day and a half ago, hundreds of Twitter employees actually quit. So they're really running on a skeleton crew. All the activists who worked at Twitter that were trying to shadow ban anybody who was critical of the establishment. Since Elon took over, a lot of them were fired, and now some of them also just quit recently. So they're really operating on a skeleton crew. So there are going to be some glitches and stuff. Like, I actually couldn't even vote on this poll, by the way. That's another thing. I couldn't vote on this poll. I kept hitting yes because that's what I wanted to do, but it wouldn't let me vote. You can see I actually commented, I think, on here that it won't let me vote, but I don't know where that went. But so let me see if this will work if I follow. Yeah, it works for me. Yeah, so Twitter is a little glitchy, but I mean, that's not too out of the ordinary, to be honest. It's kind of a shit platform. They're all shit, We're run by a bunch of incompetent people. Like, let's see here. Yeah, Rabbi Trump and scene. Yeah, well, my cat is outside my room right now, like messing things up. I can hear things falling on the ground right now. Anyways, let's talk about this, right? So Musk, you got to understand, like, this is good. I'm not going to say it's not good, right? It is good. It's fun. I like it. It's going to be fun. I don't know if Trump will post on Twitter for a while because I think he's going to try to go along with the Truth Social thing and post exclusively there for a while. But eventually, I mean, he just is not going to get the reach he would get on Twitter, period. Everyone knows it. He knows it. I mean, that's why these social media platforms are so powerful. They're the town square. Countless have tried to start alternatives to this. I mean, it's Truth Social. Then you got Gab, Getter, Parler, which just totally fell off. And none of them offer anything that different than what Twitter does. It's just less traction, and they're echo chambers of right-wing policies or right-wing rhetoric. So Gab actually offers some pretty cool, different interactability. I really like Gab, but it just, all of these, they don't compare to what Twitter offers in terms of the town square. Everyone's just there. You had CBS recently state that they're not going to be posting on Twitter anymore. They just said this today, CBS, the official media company, and I doubt that will last. I doubt it. Same thing with Trump. These people they crave the dopamine hits just like the rest of us, okay? And that's again, this is where Twitter is going. That's the long-term plan for all this. Elon has transhumanist plans for us with this stuff. And that worries me. But so Trump is back, and 134 million people seen the poll, and 16 million people voted. I think it was 15 or 16 million people. Now, people have asked Elon here to reinstate Alex Jones as well, because, again, there's already been several people reinstated that were banned. And... Oh, look, they're even talking about the dopamine hits here. I didn't even see this in one of Elon's replies. Lex Friedman says, reminder to self, mental health is very important. And Elon says, definitely need to improve Twitter's dopamine cortisol ratio. Here's the thing, and this is why I'm a victim of it too, but this is why I think social media is actually really bad, especially TikTok is probably number one. And then you can go into, how bad pornography and all that is too. It's very similar. This dopamine rush, dopamine hit to get, whether it be likes or retweets or seeing something on TikTok that, makes you laugh or you think is really interesting. And it's the same thing with obviously pornography. It's all in that same category of these artificial release mechanisms in the brain. It stimulates the chemicals in your brain, the same chemicals that are supposed to be there to encourage you to accomplish things in life, right? Dopamine is what drives you to go out and accomplish things. Back when we were more like hunters, gatherers, or I guess you could say living off the grid, like as we were pre-modern humans, these were the things that, especially dopamine was the thing that encouraged you to actually seek out not only food and stuff like that, but, a wife, a mate, and to move up in social status, right? And to accomplish things in society. And it's ironic because that exact chemical encouraged us to create the modern world. And now the modern world has offered us this fake paper tiger version of it that is so easily accessible. It is quite unnerving, actually. And so now you can get that same dopamine rush by getting these feedback loops in social media and pornography and things like that online. And it's going to be 10 times worse as well once this is installed as a Neuralink chip in the brain. And it's going to be a fake humanity, a transhumanist world. And that is the end of humanity. I mean, it's the most satanic thing I can think of. But again, hey, Donald Trump is back, so let's have some fun, right? So Musk says this, right? Freedom of speech. So, okay. First of all, we're going to disregard the fact what Lee said for a second. The fact that we're even voting on whether or not Trump should be backed on Twitter, that's not freedom of speech, right? New Twitter policy is freedom of speech, Elon says, but not freedom of reach. Negative hate tweets will be max deboosted and demonetized, so no ads or other revenue to Twitter. You won't find the tweet unless you specifically seek it out, which is no different than the rest of the internet. Oh, so, okay, Twitter is going to be garbage just like everything else, basically? Okay, thanks. Except you just won't be banned. You'll just be demonetized, deranked, and nobody will see anything you say. Kathy Griffin, Jordan Peterson, and Babylon Bee have been reinstated. Trump decision has yet to be made. So he said this, I believe, yesterday. So that's why it says that. Note, this applies to the individual tweet and not the whole account. That is progress. I'll give him that because that is actually really important. And I will say this, since Elon has taken over Twitter, I've actually seen my follower count start growing again. On Twitter before, but I would say from about the beginning of the middle of 2017, right around the Trump presidency, till about until exactly the time Elon took over, till about the past few weeks. my follower count stayed stagnant. It grew from 2015 to 2017, then went stagnant. Once Trump was elected, it was like social media shut down. It was like dead internet theory, right? You've heard of that. And I've talked about it a little bit here on this channel. The fact that like most of like the mainstream platforms now, since about 2016 or 2017, are basically all bots, and it's all fake. And it's all algorithmically manipulated to the point of just being like a gigantic hoax, basically. And that's my experience. It makes a lot of sense. But since Elon has taken over Twitter, I will say this. Like, I'll give him credit where credit's due. Yes, my follower count started growing again. I've started seeing more traction. Now that you could say, well, that's because more people are on Twitter because they're excited that Elon took it over. No, because I'm actually getting seen, it seems to me. But yes, if I tweet out something edgy, which I have a couple of times, it doesn't get much traction. So maybe it's just for the individual tweet and not the whole account. I actually think he's probably telling the truth. You know, maybe he'll make the, again, like, it's called a honeypot, right? Like, I just don't trust the long-term plans he states that he has for this platform. Long-term, I'm talking like 10 years in the future or more. Probably about 10 years in the future. You know, if it becomes a WeChat where your whole life is linked into it, man, that's just creepy. It's centralized. And then, well, okay, we're going to roll out a brain chip. But until then, yeah, he has to make it appealing to everyone. And to do that, you can't just have what we've had on social media. It's, these people, like Facebook is going into the gutter right now. Their stock, from what I understand, I think their stock is dropping. I haven't looked at their stock in a while, but the whole thing is going into the gutter, right? They're losing engagement. They're losing monetization and all of these things because people have moved on to TikTok, number one, but also it's now a hoax. It's the dead internet theory. It's the same thing with YouTube to a large degree. But again, these platforms, they have so much power because they're the town square and they're just super convenient and everyone's there at the same time. So it's just for people like us, right? It's like people like us just get deranked and screwed over. And there's a lot of us. Because it's not just people who think, who question the story of previous shootings from 10 years ago that are being deranked and demonetized or banned. It's actually just people who believe in like, I believe in free speech. Oh, I believe in the Second Amendment. It's like, oh, how incredibly edgy. Or it's like, I believe a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and that's it. Oh, yeah, so we're going to demonetize and derank people who believe that? Okay, that's half the country, and that's what they've done. But, Twitter, I think, will be more of a place that, frankly, there won't be as much of that from now on with Elon in control. So where is this tweet that I'm looking for? Someone said to bring back Alex Jones, and Musk replied a stark no. A stark no. It's got to be somewhere. Let's see. I mean, it's in here, I promise. So basically, somebody says you should bring back Alex Jones, and he just went, no. And, it's very important to understand, yes, Alex Jones is the litmus test for actually how much you actually support free speech. Here it is. So what should Twitter do next? Elon tweets yesterday. And somebody said, bring back Alex Jones. Got tons of likes and retweets. Elon said, no. No. Just a harsh, stark no. So Jones too edgy. Jones too edgy. Jones too edgy. And then, yeah, this is a good tweet from Viva Fry. Alex Jones is the litmus test. Not just on the issue of freedom of speech, but on the issue of not bending the knee to the political and judicial intimidation. If this is a hard no, your Twitter will never be any more trustworthy than Paraga or Jack's Twitter. And Elon says, too bad. Basically, fuck off. I don't care. Like, just not even like it's not. He's not even throwing anybody a bone on it. Really stark. Like, screw you guys. I don't care. I don't care. And now I want to ask you guys, why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? So I'm just checking out the chat here. A truth teller says, I don't trust Elon at all. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, I don't know if that's. Yeah, it's pretty obvious not to trust him. I mean, yes, I will say, like, Twitter is in better hands. Like I would rather have Elon controlling Twitter than the previous controllers. You know, it's a complicated world. You know, it's not all black and white. There are shades of gray. But yeah, no, you can't trust Elon Musk. Like his ex-girlfriend is Grimes, who is a Satanist. Okay. Like an outright Satanist. And I made a whole video like 7 years ago about Grimes. Saturn Princess. Give me a break, dude. Literal Satanists, and they're transhumanists. So yeah, I mean, just have fun with it. Have fun with it. And it is worth pointing out what good is being done. I judge more people by their actions, and just judge those actions individually, because nobody's perfect. We are all fallen. We are all sinners. So even if somebody is like a transhumanist guy who wants to put a brain in your chip, and maybe even the Antichrist, I'll point out what good is being done when I see it, because it's worth pointing out. Hey, Faith Fuego. Hey, what's up? No worries. I'm not mad that you're late. I forgive. You're all good. You're all good. Yeah. All right. So let's look at this. Yeah, so here's the thing. He goes on Twitter like 3 weeks ago, says power to the people. I mean, and then he denies reinstating Alex Jones. Why not have a poll on that? I guarantee you Alex Jones would win that poll too. But again, this isn't power to the people. Everyone should be reinstated that was banned. And here's why. There's a block button and there's a mute button. So if you want the people to have power, that would mean you'd want them to be able to decide who they see in their timeline and who to block and who to mute. But no, you're deciding that when it comes to Alex Jones. What if I want to see Alex Jones's tweets? That's not power to the people. If I don't, anybody who doesn't want to see Alex Jones's tweets, or anybody who's been banned on Twitter that you won't reinstate, Mr. Musk, there's a block button. There's a mute button. What this is really about is advertisers. That's what it's really about. It's likely that Twitter is an unprofitable company without advertisers, who a lot of them have already dropped, but I don't think all of them have. In fact, I know all of them haven't because I've seen a couple of advertisements on Twitter. But as soon as they let Alex Jones back on Twitter, if he ever did that, almost all of them would probably drop Twitter. And then all that revenue would be gone. And the company would be defunct. And it wouldn't be profitable because not enough people are signing up for Twitter Blue, which is like, or whatever it's called now. I don't know what it's called. Something you pay for it. You pay $8 and you get like a blue check mark. And that basically fell on its face already anyway, because you had bots and hoaxers creating fake accounts with blue check marks, paying $8 and literally crashing like the stocks of certain companies. Who was it? I forget what company it was that they made. Somebody made I want to say it was like Eli Lilly, I think it was. Somebody paid $8 to get a blue check, and they made an account that said it was Eli Lilly, the company, the pharmaceutical company, and the company said something like they posted on Twitter. This wasn't really the company, but they got that blue check, and they posted that insulin would now be like free or something, or really cheap, from what I recall. This was like last week. And it tanked the stock of Eli Lilly based on that tweet because everybody thought it was real. And it was just some fake hoaxer or even maybe a bot or something that just paid $8 to get the blue check and started posting fake stuff saying they were Eli Lilly. And yeah, that was a big farce. Like the whole thing just tanked. So like, power to the people, man. Come on, brah. You're telling me power to the people? Yeah, if it was power to the people, you'd let them block the so-called repulsive, repugnant opinions like so-called repulsive, repugnant Alex Jones. Yeah. There's no reason to not reinstate everybody who's been banned. There's no reason. That is free speech. That is power to the people. Power to the people is the block button, is the mute button. But, yeah, no. Mr. Elon is a hypocrite. That's okay. We're still going to have fun, though. Donald Trump's back on Twitter. I just want to... It is kind of fun. It is fun. This is a good reality show. Snooki's back. Snooki's back, boys. Oh, I guess they won't let me follow him either because I hit follow. Now it says, if I refresh... Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's probably just glitchy. I don't think it's necessarily like, intentional. I think it's just glitchy. But like, yeah, man. Kind of crazy. Thanks, Faith Fuego. We're posting that. Anybody wants to contribute to the channel, I have PayPal and then Patreon and Super Chats. You can always give a Super Chat and I'll read your chat, obviously. Let me see here. Yep, because truth is less than money to these people. Not saying Jones is good. I don't trust him either because of his conduct over the years. Are you talking about Alex Jones? Yeah, I mean, it's irrelevant whether or not you trust Alex Jones. I mean, that's not relevant to this because the whole point is, like, you could distrust him till the cows come home. Like, does he have free speech? Like, is he allowed to say what he wants to say on Twitter? I think he is. I don't care about that. Like, we could, we get this isn't about, like, is Alex Jones a shill? Like, you could go on all day until the cows come home about who is and who isn't a shill. And we can speculate all day, but it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Is Trump actually posting on Twitter again? Not yet. He claims he's staying on Truth Social because that it's in his monetary interest to do that. But I don't think it's going to last. I really don't. I mean, do you guys think it's going to last? You don't think he's going to start posting on Twitter with 100 times of a reach? It's ridiculous. If he did, that would be stupid. But I understand, like, he put probably his own money into creating Truth Social. I'm sure that he has other investors he has to please. So I don't know. Maybe he will stay on Truth Social, and then he'll I wouldn't be surprised if like he maybe put out tweets 12 hours later on Twitter that he posts before on Truth Social. I don't know. Maybe that kind of makes sense. But I don't know how he gets out of this one. He's put in a precarious situation, him and his investors, into that company of Truth Social. I don't know. I never even created a Truth Social. There can't be that many people on there. John11 says, people all the time mention Jeff C. It amazes me how many people know of or watched him. I watched him for years myself. Something powerful about that guy's very real existence. Yes. Yes, rest in peace, Jeff. Yeah, I get comments every single video about Jeff. There's a comment earlier saying Jeff wouldn't like your opinion about this. Like, dude, I'm not Jeff. I'm not Jeff C. I don't know what. Like, we didn't agree on everything. I don't even know what you're talking about before. Dudley Less says Jeff C. wouldn't be happy with you, but I don't know if you're. Like, I don't care. Like, even when he was alive, we didn't agree on everything. I mean, it's just like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like. I never joined TS either. Seems dumb to intentionally join an echo chamber in some cases, but like, I think of it more as like a forum, right? I could see joining a forum that everybody talks about a similar topic or has, like Gab. I get some value out of Gab, and that's an echo chamber, because I like the groups on Gab. If you go to Gab and you join some of the groups, like, especially for Christianity, like, they have really awesome groups sharing Bible verses, and just going, delving into Christian doctrine and stories and theology or whatever. I get a lot of value out of that. There's a couple of carnivore keto groups on Gab that I would go on. It's inspirational. It's fun. You get a lot of good info. There's, so echo chambers aren't always bad. There's a place for them in a way, especially if you're just trying to share info and discuss certain topics. But the real battlefield in the real town square is Twitter. It will never be Gab. It will never be Truth Social. It will never be Parler or Getter. And it just is what it is, right? Did you know that the body loses about 28 grams of mass when the body dies? Says Joe Biden did. Oh, I can't say your name out loud. Isn't that because this is YouTube? That comment has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But yes, I've heard something like that before. Yeah, Bill Cooper. A lot of people mentioning Bill Cooper. Bill Cooper is, he's a legend. He's a legend. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and he was naval intelligence, and he came out blowing the whistle. Behold the Pale Horse with his book. I actually haven't read the book, but I've listened to some of Bill Cooper's old podcasts, and videos and stuff like that. He was taken out in like 2006 in a shootout with, it was like the police or FBI or something. And yeah, rest in peace. He was the real Alex Jones, right? He was the original. And he, a lot of people think he was killed because he wasn't willing to go along with certain things that Alex Jones maybe was. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of speculation, but at the same time, you know, he was taken out. There's no doubt about it. Cooper was taken out, and Cooper predicted 9/11. You know, a lot of people will give credit to Jones for predicting 9/11, which I you know, he did as well, but I believe Cooper did before Jones did, you know, because Jones's prediction of 9/11 was in July of 2001, a couple months before. But I think Cooper was predicting that and, you know, talking about Osama bin Laden and all that before that even, if I'm not mistaken. We got us an election denier, folks, says Scoville. We got us an election denier in the chat. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, guys. What do we do? Should we take a vote? Whether or not that's allowed here? No. I'm kidding. Oh, I disavow. By the way, I took down the video of me dissecting the Kanye West Lex Friedman interview, at least parts of it, because I said in a too serious manner that I disavowed what Kanye West was saying, and it didn't sound like ironic enough for me, or like I was like, people are gonna take that seriously because I don't disavow what he says. I actually totally agree, so I took it down because I didn't want it to make it look like I actually disavowed what he was saying. But that is just me thinking too much, probably. But whatever, it's gone. It's on private, so I don't want to push that disinfo. Yeah, we're in for some crazy times, all right. We are in for some crazy times, boys. I hope you're ready. Anyways, so, yeah, Trump is back. And this is after, this is worth talking about. This is after, so Musk obviously fired some people at Twitter, and then he had a bunch of activist types working at Twitter that were still there that quit. Twitter employees head for the exits after Elon Musk's extremely hardcore ultimatum. So these are all, you know, fluffy ball millennials probably. You know, many of us in the millennial generation are very entitled, right? And Elon Musk actually making them work hard, like coming into the office and actually working 8 hours a day at least. Oh, that's too much. So they quit in mass, a whole bunch of them. And so a lot of people were saying that, since this happened, since so many quit all at once, this was like 2 days ago, you had all of these left-wing establishment journalists like Ben Collins, who, by the way, wrote an entire article about me in my channel 7 years ago. Literally dedicated when he worked for the Daily Beast. He now works for NBC News. He's one of the most cringe bugman journalists on Twitter. And the guy wrote an entire hit piece about my channel back in like 2014 when I put out a video. I think it was about the WDBJ shooting. I'm not gonna get into it, but yeah, he put out an entire hit piece about my channel. He called me and did an interview with me. So, yeah, I don't really like this guy that much, to be honest. But anyways, yeah, he defamed me in that, of course, the article, and twisted things. You know what the media does. And at the time, it was 2014. I was green when it came to having a channel and understanding, well, at least what somebody like Ben Collins would do. I was somewhat thrilled at the time that I had a mainstream journalist call me and want to do an interview. But now I would say absolutely not. Go screw yourself. I don't care if it was Dan Rather. Is he even still exist? I don't know. I don't care if it was Ben Collins honestly is like the most establishment type of journalist now. Very, very popular at NBC News. This is back when he was at the Daily Beast, but the guys like him, he's sharing all these tweets about how Twitter is about to shut down, all the employees quit. They're raging, having like a crack binge on Twitter, like counting down the minutes until the entire thing goes black and shuts down because all of these employees quit. And then they backtrack. They wake up the next morning. Ben Collins says, for what it's worth, I don't think there'll be a big apocalyptic day after tomorrow style moment where Twitter ends. Yeah. Coming back to reality, are we? Coming back to reality. Yeah, Twitter was employing a bunch of people that just didn't need to be employed. It was a fake. It was probably getting DOD money. I don't even know how they were staying afloat. But literally 90% of the staff, Musk has gotten rid of. And it's still working pretty well. I mean, it's a bit glitchy, but it was always glitchy before Musk took it over. Things like the follow button wouldn't always work. But of course that only happened to conservative people. If you tried to follow Ben Collins, I guarantee you it'll work. The glitches have already piled up. People who are left are predicting outages, but most importantly, it's unclear how the company is going to make money now, Ben Collins says. Just like the dead malls don't die overnight. So it's him coping, right? Just like the dead malls don't die overnight, degradation is a slow trickle until it isn't. Eventually, you just stop going to that mall when the parking lot starts growing weeds, and even Sparrow has bounced. Sparrow, I don't know what that is. That a hot topic that him and all his homosexual friends would go to? Is that what that is? The experience is already degrading in small ways and might in big ways. It'll be fine. It's a very funny moment in history. If the site survives with a skeleton crew of red-pilled Silicon Valley guys who have talked advertisers into rejoining a hamstrung site where the CEO posts InfoWars stuff, good on them. I just don't see it. Cope. This is a cope. So they, were having a probably an Adderall fueled binge the day before about how Twitter was going to completely shut down, and it didn't. And this is what he posts the next day. It's like, don't worry, guys, it'll still go under. It's just going to take time. Such a cope. And it's not true. It's not true. Like I said, Musk knows what he's doing. Okay, Twitter is going to grow. It's going to get very popular. And eventually it's going to grow into an all-encompassing WeChat-style app where your entire life is connected to Twitter. Elon Musk is a really smart guy, and I don't trust him, but he's competent. So I don't think Twitter is going to go under. I just don't. I don't think it's going to. Musk is going to find a way to make it profitable. He's going to find a way to make it popular. I think reinstating Donald Trump is already a step in that direction of making it more popular. I think even these bugman journalists like Ben Collins want secretly Trump back on Twitter. This is like Christmas morning. Okay, that's the most apparent thing about these types. It's the same thing with the COVID Karens, right? Their lack of self-awareness is alarming. They have no sense of self-awareness. Know thyself? Yeah, they don't know thyself. I doubt these people have ever reflected on what actually motivates them. Like, they've never actually introspected on what drives them to do anything in their life. So yeah, I think Ben Collins secretly is thrilled. And I think all these journalists, these blue check elitist journalists, are thrilled that Trump's going to be back on Twitter. And they're thrilled he's running for president too. Those are clicks, yo. Those are clicks. The Trump reply guys, these are people that would literally get a following on Twitter by auto posting or getting auto notifications whenever Trump posted on Twitter, and they would have a reply already ready to go within seconds of Trump posting. So it would be the first one up there, get a bunch of likes, and go viral. That, by the way, that's how you get a following on Twitter. I mean, it works. Not just with Trump reply guy, but with any type of person with a big following. If you become a reply guy, that's really how you get good traction. I mean, it does work. But I mean, there were journalists, well, not even journalists, just people on Twitter who built a whole following by being specifically Trump reply guys, following Trump and everything he did, and obviously being hypercritical about every single thing, and then having like tweets already ready to go to reply to Trump right when he posted and go viral. So that's a good tip, though, by the way. If you ever want to, get a Twitter following, that's how you do it. That is how you do it. I mean, that's how I got a lot of more. I mean, a lot of it came from this channel, too. Obviously, I tell people to go follow me on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, I get more followers typically by replying to people who already have a following and saying something interesting or insightful within, let's say, a half hour of them posting, because that is going to get you the most attention. It's the truth. But yeah, I don't think, and the COVID Karen's the same thing, Like, what actually motivated them to wear a mask? It wasn't because they were afraid of the virus, for the most part. Some of them probably were true believers and all that, but most of them were just virtue signaling. It's the same thing with people. You still see people wearing masks. Here in New Hampshire, I still see people wearing masks at the grocery store. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And oh, man. True believers, the true virtue signal believers. That's really what they are. Just looking back in the chat. Any super chats? No super chats. That's okay. Let's look at what we got here. Twitwit says, gotta go. Relatives flying in from Mass, landing in 45 minutes. I have to. I mean, the pleasure of picking them up. Have a good night. Have a good night, Twitwit. That's where I'm from, Massachusetts. Da Vinci was on fentanyl while painting Mona Lisa. I don't know. Scott says that. I don't know. Is that true? I don't think that's... Yeah. Obviously, you're trolling. You're trolling. But that's pretty good. Yeah, is 2076 says, is he actually back? Yes, Trump is actually back on Twitter. Yes. Truth Teller says, press, whatever happened to Red Pill Revolution, Truth Media Revolution? He's just not making videos anymore. Not that I know of. Last time I talked to him was in 2020. It was like the end of 2020. We had a conversation, and yeah, we had a couple conversations, and he was in a rough spot. He's very, what do you say? He was discouraged by all the COVID madness. He was very discouraged by that. You could tell, you could hear it in his voice, and he just and obviously, I think he might have been discouraged as well by the banning and deranking on YouTube that he was experiencing. I know he was posting on BitChute for a little while, but it's just not. You're just not going to get as much traction, you know. So I think he was kind of like a little depressed about the whole situation. I don't think he's making videos anymore. I tried reaching out to him, but he hasn't talked to me. He was having some health issues too, so I don't know. I just haven't talked to him in a couple. Well, I guess a couple years now. Like a year and a half, 2 years. Anyways, yeah, I do miss him. Liz Thomas says, I think everyone should be allowed on there, including Alex Jones, as long as they aren't threatening people. Blessings, love and all, to love and all. Yes, I agree. Totally. Faith says, I love the days, but usually can't catch a live. You're talking about Days of Noah, maybe? Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe going over to do more live streams on Odyssey or Rumble, simply because I'll be able to say what I want, and there's actually a chance where I mean, it is an echo chamber in some ways, but like we're the new humanity. Like the way I see it, it's like you can call it an echo chamber, but I mean, I just don't believe that there are that many people. I mean, there are a lot of people that are just don't care and follow the propaganda, whatever. But I actually think anybody who's paying attention to what's going on in the media can see what the agenda is. Obviously, the agenda it's it's very, very evil, right? And I think people are starting to see through that if they're paying attention. Everybody else, they're just doing their own thing, and all they do is they'll put a mask on at the grocery store and then continue with their lives. They'll go to the voting booth and vote Democrat and then move on with their lives because they briefly see in passing something on the news as they're, making dinner and then the anchorman is telling them that, Elon Musk is the next Goebbels and Donald Trump is the next Hitler. And they just believe it because they don't look into anything, right? They don't look into what the alternative story is to some of the these narratives that are being presented. I mean, just look at. I mean, we can go on all day about COVID. Obviously, you can go on all day. You can go on all day about the roll up your sleevers all day. I'm so. I almost forget. I'm so disconnected from the perspective and the narrative of the sheeple, so to speak, that I just don't understand. No, I do understand, but I almost forget sometimes that I'm talking to people that literally believe that, they literally believe that that like masks will stop you from getting the coke out. Like they literally believe stuff like that. They literally believe that like if you don't have your most up to date booster, that you're Hitler or something. Like some of these people are just out of control, and I forget about that. It's not that I don't forget it. It's just it just doesn't register with me because I'm so in our world, in the world of reality. It's like two different movies playing on a screen. Anyways, I'm ranting. Mad Dog says, is this a Christian channel? Yeah, I would say so. I definitely am a Christian, so I guess so. I do believe we're in the end times, so yeah. People will always vote for convenience. If they don't have to do anything, that's the path they'll go down. Yeah, I think I can go on all day about democracy and how much it sucks. I think like democracy is a means to make a decision. I'm not like against the process of democracy in all cases. I just think the idea of having a democratic government and that being the end all be all to how power is distributed and how we make decisions on a governmental level is very, very bad. That should not be. It's almost like, how do I compare it? It's almost like it's almost like if you're going to hire a plumber, and instead of hiring somebody who can actually do like fix a pipe or something, you hire somebody who is who knows how to weld but has never done anything in plumbing. It's like welding, welding might just be one part of or like fixing a car or something. Welding might be just one part of the job, right? But it's not the end all be all of how the job's actually done. Democracy is just one part of the puzzle of like a free society that can be implemented in certain cases. But to make it the end all be all of how you run a society is just extremely fallacious. I mean, think about it. It's mob rule. It's stupid. It's two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. That's why we're supposed to be like a constitutional republic that protects the individuals and the minority based on a set of Bill of Rights, right? And voting is just a means by which we choose leaders. And by the way, that used to be mitigated. That's why we have a Senate and a House of Representatives. It used to be that senators were appointed by the House of Representatives in every state. It wasn't voted. So people didn't used to be able to vote for senators because it was a balance against the follies of democracy. So like there's certain things that you weren't supposed to be able to vote on. Same thing why we have the Electoral College to vote for president. It's not popular vote that determines it. It's balanced out by a process of Electoral College that mitigates the downside of democracy. These are things you're not taught in high school or in college at all. But this is what the Founding Fathers would talk about. And now it's just such a joke that it's really just a charade, the whole thing, I think, with democracy. It's it's just to make people think that they have some sort of say in what's going on. But really, we live in an oligarchy. And do you really think, this past election was a great example of the oligarchy. You had guys like here in New Hampshire, Don Bolduc, who I wasn't a huge fan of, but you had others like Blake Masters that were running for Senate that CPAC and APAC, of course, these Zionist lobbies that control so much of the conservative money that goes to the GOP politicians, they refused to fund these senators, and they lost. And now we don't have the Senate, or at least I say the GOP doesn't have the Senate because these guys didn't want to fully play ball with CPAC and APAC and some of the establishment within the GOP. It's an oligarchy. So since they didn't get the money, what do we have here? This is a great example in New Hampshire. You had Bolduc running for senator against Hassan. Hassan, everybody I knew, we're getting flyers from Hassan, endless flyers every single day from the Hassan campaign, all these signs everywhere because she had all this money from the Democratic Party, which, by the way, essentially came from, where did it come from? Your tax dollars, because it was funneled into how's the line go? I'm going on a tangent with that, but FTX, Ukraine, the Democratic Party, your tax dollars, right? That's how that circle went. But then Bolduc, he didn't want to play ball fully with the establishment GOP, with the oligarchy. Yeah, and he didn't get any money. So he lost by a lot. I don't even think he would have won if he got money. But there were certain, like Blake Masters, for instance. And this is how it goes, right? If you're not playing ball, you don't get any money and you lose. And that's how the democracy works. John 1:1 says, how do we keep it a republic? That is the question. How would one righteously oppose them in God's will? I don't know that answer. John 1:1, I could go on all day about this. I think America's done. I don't think there is any hope of keeping a republic. I don't think there's any hope of keeping America intact. I think we need to let go of the idea of America. I think it's done. Over. It's very similar to the fall of Rome. I think we just gotta. This is gonna be really hard for like the boomers and even the Gen Xers. It's gonna be really hard for them to do this. But this idea of America being like some sort of country, like with a culture and a people, it's just not there anymore. It's really sad because, I loved America. I grew up, I was raised to love my country, but it's just not there anymore. It's not here. It's gone. So what we need to do is to be focused more on localism. I think that's really the future. I think localism is where there will be hope, where you can actually make a difference in your own community and in your life. And then out of that can spring some sort of new culture and cultures. It's very similar with the fall of Rome. You had the fall of Rome, right? And then you had other smaller sub-empires and countries come out of that. Like you had the Holy Roman Empire, which eventually became like Germany and stuff. But it wasn't Rome. Like it called itself the Holy Roman Empire, but it wasn't even close to anything that. It was very different than Rome too. It was Christian while Roman was pagan. And then you can just go over countless examples of something like that, but it's just, man, it's gone, man. It's all good, though. We just have to let go. It's hard to let go. It really is psychologically difficult to let go of the idea of America. You get that good feeling in your belly. Good old, apple pie, baseball, an awesome military, red, white, and blue, 4th of July. All of these things, the American pastimes, American football. There's going to be elements of it that are still there. Like we're all going to celebrate Thanksgiving. And that, that process will probably keep going. Christianity is something that will never die because it's God, So that's something that I'm a Christian that lives in New Hampshire. That's what I am. I'm not an American. I don't consider what does American mean, right? I'm a New Hampshire Christian. That's what I am. So I don't know. That's the way I see it. Joe Biden did not. I can't read your. Obviously, I can't read your name. He who shall not be named says, or she. I'm not really sure. Is that a picture of a chicken in your profile picture? It's pretty funny. Or is that a goat? I can't tell. Says that's why we should switch from a democratic republic to a meritocracy republic. Yeah, it's all over. It's all over, man. Just let it go, dude. Let it go. Schnabel says we need to go to rural areas. Our forefathers had to start fresh on a new land. We need to come together and away from cities. We will not be able to opt out of their system within the cities. There's a lot of truth to that. I pretty much agree. I think there might be hope of taking some cities, but yeah. And then you have these in-betweeners. Like I kind of live in an in-betweener. It's kind of like a really small city. Where maybe things can shift. It's all about the grace of God, though. If we ask God, but this has to be done city to city. Like one thing I do with my church, we pray for our city here, in New Hampshire, this small city I live in, and we're trying to help out addicts with this addiction problem with the fentanyl and all that stuff, there's hope. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like New York City or LA or Austin, it's gone. A lot of the cities are gone. Chicago, gone forever. I mean, San Francisco, these are just gone forever. Just gone forever. But look at Miami. Miami's actually doing okay. Miami-Dade voted for DeSantis, which is kind of like, well, at least there's hope there, And I already can see someone in the comments, oh, DeSantis is a shill. I don't care. The point is, you get the point, right? You get what I'm saying? Okay. Let it go, bro. Let it go, Jack. You guys ever watch Lost? Let it go, Jack. Mad Dog says, I'm attracted to Orthodox Christianity lately. Yeah, Orthodox, and I mean, even elements of Catholicism, I have so much respect for both, honestly. I mean, because there's been saints, and by the way, this is one thing that Protestants here in America need to let go of, this idea that there's nothing good that ever came out of the Orthodox or Catholic churches. A lot of these, and I'm not Catholic or Orthodox, I'm Protestant for the most part. A lot of these sort of Protestants don't recognize the fact that actually, hey, what you call the Catholic Church was actually the only church for 1,500 years. 1,000 years, because then it split into the Orthodox and Catholic for 500 years, whatever it was. Yeah, Protestantism didn't even exist until 15, I forget the exact day when Martin Luther, or year, nailed the the Protestant declaration to the Catholic Church or whatever it was, and wherever it was, somewhere in Germany or something. I don't know the full story, but yeah. So that, and there'll be a lot of Christians, a lot of Protestant Christians that will say oh, what are you trying to say? There was no real Christian, there was no true Christianity until 1590 because of Martin Luther. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So yeah, there's great saints in the past, like Augustine, St. Thomas Aquinas. And that's one thing that I think Protestantism really slacks on, and it's really sad. But at the same time, I just don't trust the institutional aspect of today's modern Catholic Church, obviously. But that doesn't mean there aren't great, priests. I actually have a friend who's going to a monastery or whatever, and he wants to become a priest, a young guy in his 20s, and he's just a man of God, a great man. And understands God's word quite a bit. So there's a lot of, I hang out with some Catholics that are very devout, and it's a great, it's all good, you know. But yeah, if you're leaning toward orthodoxy, there's actually an Orthodox father that I watch quite frequently, Father Josiah Trainholm, and he just has amazing reflections on God's Word weekly that I think you would like. I truly, his channel is a treasure, and he is Orthodox. So he's an Orthodox priest in California, but just awesome. He even, I've been meaning to watch, he did a video on transhumanism, but yeah. Yeah, if you're attracted to Orthox Christianity, I mean, go for whatever, you know, where God's telling you to go. God is working in all the churches right now, all the Christian churches, you know. I think, I mean, not all of them. I mean, you have some that are like heretical, but I mean, for the most part, yeah. Son of Perdition, what up, press? What up? Well, let's see here. Nothing is new under the sun. Yep. Did you? Faith Fez says, "Did you guys know that there's a vaccine for fentanyl?" Honestly, that literally would not even surprise me. Yeah, I can't tell. We live in clown world. Our president can't talk. A man who can't even literally talk just got elected senator in Pennsylvania. Literally has brain damage from a stroke. Literally, a big giant oaf that can't talk. So you know, you're telling me there's a vaccine for fentanyl. I mean, maybe. Honestly, that would not surprise me at all. You could be just messing around, but you know, if there isn't, there probably will be. You know. It's a vaccine. Yeah. There's yeah, you can go get it on the street corner. Yeah, there's a vaccine for it. Yeah, all you gotta do is I'm sure all you gotta do is, you know, put it in a spoon, you know, crush it up, mix it with some water, and light it up, and then yeah, you can make your own vaccine for it. I'm sorry. Wait, that's I don't know if Twitter or YouTube, you know, takes me serious. I'm kidding, YouTube. I'm kidding. Oh, Faith Fuego says there is. Oh my goodness, there really is a vaccine for fentanyl. Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, that does, again, like, we live in clown world. That doesn't surprise me at all. Like, yeah. Yeah, you did a video about it. Okay, I'll have to check it out. John 1:1 says, and if you go down, compare Luther's thesis one by one and compare what Rome says and what the Bible says, you'll see he was right, and he was a Roman Catholic priest. Read Chinnakai's book, him too. Yeah, I mean, I got to look more into it. I mean, I know the basics, you know, when it comes to church history. There's a guy, Ryan Reeves, who did a really good like series on church history. And that's something I've been meaning to look more into, actually. So again, like I know the basics, but I don't know the nitty gritty, you know? John One also said, and I agree with what Press said, is what Press is saying. That friend of mine who passed, his whole family, or my family, were Catholic, but I disagree slightly here with him that it is Romanism that is bad to me, not Roman Catholic. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Faith says, in defense of all Gen X, we were brought up on God, guns, country, like we can't help it. Oh, well, some of you were. Yeah, Gen X is pretty good. Gen X is a good generation. They're probably you guys are probably the best out of all of them that exist right now. You know, what do you got? You got boomers, Gen X, millennials, Zoomers. And then alphas are too young to, you know, have any character, you know, in their generation. People predict what they're going to be like. But yeah, Gen X is the best. Gen X is crushing, no doubt, for the most part. I mean, you know, it's good and bad in all generations, but anyways, boys and ladies. Yeah, actually, I want to just kind of maybe talk about the Sam Bankman-Fried thing. Just, I'm not even going to go over any articles. It's just, I mean, it's just so obvious. Saw it from coming from a mile away, and then it happened, and it's like, this is right up my alley to make, you know, a video, do a stream about, and I just can't do it. I'm talking about this for so long. It was all a giant scripted event, guys. I mean, the whole thing. Yeah, they were using it to funnel money. So, if you haven't heard yet, you know, it's been pretty much confirmed that, you know, the whole FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried situation, you know, they were getting, they were using that money to give to Ukraine, and then they were getting the kickbacks, and it was going to the Democratic Party, and then he was funding the Democratic Party, Sam Bankman-Fried. He was the biggest funder of the Democratic Party during this recent election, and he was number 2 behind George Soros. Millions of dollars. And the whole thing was a giant scam, right? And it was this FTX money that his fake girlfriend, polyamorous Jewish girlfriend, was, and he's Jewish too. They're all, you know, of course, using to gamble, supposedly gambling with the money for you know. It's all scripted, guys, right? And this is all just a giant hoax, right? It's not a hoax. I mean, really, people's money really are gone. Like, he was really a scam artist. But he has ties to the World Economic Forum. He has ties to all these people like Gary Gensler in government who's trying to regulate crypto. And, he's buddy with all these people. His parents are from Stanford. They worked at Stanford. And, all of these like MIT, Stanford, elitists, they're all, it's a revolving door of the Democratic Party, government, and guys like Sam Bankman-Fried. And when this happens, it gives carte blanche, it gives pretext for the government to step in, for the Biden administration and the bureaucratic state to step in and say, we need to regulate crypto. Look at all these people that lost their money. This is worse than Bernie Madoff. It's the worst scam ever in history. Oh my goodness. Crypto is so evil. We need to regulate it. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, you know what else is evil? And this is what's going to go next. Tether. Oh, that's the dollar version of crypto. It's basically a crypto dollar, like US dollar, right? If you're not familiar with Tether, it's what is used in the blockchain to resemble US dollars, just $1 each, right? And that's the next thing to go, and they're going to say, oh, we need a CBDC, right? We need to regulate crypto. We need to shut down all the decentralized cryptocurrencies, or at least regulate them somehow, where it's easily controlled, easily taxable, highly regulated, all attached to digital identities. And privacy crypto just can't be a thing. We got to ban Monero. We got to ban Pirate Chain and Zcash and the secret network and anything that's actually the private cryptocurrency. That's basically perfect money. We've got to ban that. And then we have to regulate all the rest. And then we introduce a CBDC, which is in the middle of all of it. What is that? Oh, that's a central bank digital currency. Oh, look. It's just a coincidence that Sam Bankman-Fried and that whole situation with him and his Harry Potter fan of a girlfriend, polyamorous. It's all just a coincidence that they have connections to all these people in government, the Democrats that want to regulate crypto, and then this happened. Oh, that's just a big giant coincidence, and now the CBDC is going to be introduced, and it's going to be very similar to what you see in China that I've talked about 1,000,000 trillion times on this channel, the digital yuan. And your currency will be linked to a wallet that will probably eventually link into Elon Musk's X network, which is the future of Twitter. It's going to be called X. And it's going to be used to process payments. It'll be linked to your digital identity. It'll be linked to your biometrics, your health records, your social credit score, and what you're able to spend on, your carbon credits, whether or not you can, go to the movies that week, or have you already gone to the movies earlier in the month? You can have meat only on your birthday. Other than that, you're eating the cockroaches and the bugs and the crickets and the beetles, right? I'd probably be taxed for having a cat. I'm a Siamese cat. I'd probably be it's too much carbon. So yeah, and it just depresses me that this all happened. I told people to not trust Solana, to not trust. I didn't go too much into Sam Bankman-Fried, but I did talk about Solana at least a little bit. Some shady stuff going on with that. And that's the whole thing connected to FTX and all that. So, what'd I tell you? And it's just, it's like I'm just so sick of blowing the whistle, not blowing the whistle, but screaming this stuff from the rooftops, calling it, predicting it happening, and nobody cares. It's like I don't get any credit for it. Not that I even want credit, but nobody listens. Nobody listens. And it happens, and it's like, I told you so, but nobody cares. And it's like, well, we could have avoided it if maybe just more people paid attention, but nobody cares. So Why should I even make a video? It's like, why should I even talk about it? It's like, okay, just lose all your money, get hooked up into the Neuralink grid, have your social credit score and your carbon credits and your CBDCs, and just don't even pay attention. Just don't care. Just don't care. Have fun. Just get the dopamine hits, guys. Just get your dopamine hits and have fun with your crypto scams and your CBDCs. Really, I'm done. I'm not gonna even talk about anything that just requires people to think, because people just won't pay attention to it. Faith says, I feel like we're living in the movie Idiocracy, and I freaking hate it. Like, somebody needs to hit the stop button, then delete the movie. Yeah. 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 That's a good quote. Hands of Seeds says, press, no matter how much the bee tries to convince the fly that honey tastes better, the fly will prefer the shit. Yeah, no matter what. I know. It's true. I know. Thank you. Thank you for this pep talk. It's helping. Yeah, just nobody cares. Nobody cares about the specifics. Nobody gives a shit about any of it. You know what people would really rather hear? They want to talk about like, if you look at like my video about Kanye and Aaron Carter and the death, like, people love that. They share it all day. Get like 7,000-8,000 views all day. 8 times the views of if I were to make a video about CBDCs and the future of your actual money. Nobody would care. It's like, okay, yeah, have fun talking. I mean, not that the Aaron Carter video was not good or not true or anything like that. It's all real. It's all good. But I mean, it's just like, people only care about like stuff that's like lowbrow. Nobody wants to talk about like the real nitty gritty of like things that will actually affect the power centers of their lives, right? Nobody wants to talk about the like how money's distributed and like who funds what and who's associated with what, and like the future of money. No, they don't want to talk about that. No, they just want to they want to talk about celebrities. Stupid, so dumb, whatever. I mean, I would talk about it ad nauseum, but nobody cared. Nobody cared. Patricia Barnes says Elon Musk made a huge mistake by giving Trump his Twitter account back. I don't know, maybe. Anyways, guys, I'm going to get going. Yeah, it's been real. Share the video, like, share, subscribe, I guess. And you can follow me on Twitter and Gab. Links for that in the description below. If you want to become a Patreon member as well, there's that in the description below. Link for and PayPal and stuff. You can give and help support the channel. But other than that, I am out, guys. It's been real. It's been fun talking to you. Happy Saturday. I'll see you again soon. It's been Press. Keep your head up. Stay real. And no fear.